Good evening, boils and ghouls. Welcome back to Monster Movie Night with Bobby Gammonster, your internet horror host, here at Gargoyle Manor, the Monster Museum. My home and yours for the next, few minutes at least. Maybe a little longer, if you wish to stay. Anyway, isn't it wonderful to be in the year 2012? Imagine, into the future. Just seemed like only 100 years ago that we were saying, 2012, what would it be like? And we're in it. And we have computers. In fact, we're proving it right now. You're watching me on your very own computer, in your very own home, on the internet. Isn't that wonderful? I think it is. At least it gets to bring me and my family and my home and the museum into your life for a while. And of course we can share some movies together. And that's what being a horror host is all about. And in fact, that's what I wanted to talk to you tonight about, is horror hosting. My name is Bobby Gammonster. And as I say, I am your internet horror host, which means that I'm not on television, regular TV or cable channels. I am only on the internet, which is fine. I'm very happy with it, to be here with you good people in your very own homes. But in the olden days, and not just in the olden days, it's still going on right now, horror hosts are and have been on the television screen. That's it. Up until now, that's the only place you could see them. And before that, a sort of type of horror host was doing what they used to call spook shows. And it was sort of a magic act of sorts, and they would get dressed up, and they would present stories, and they would bring out people dressed as characters, as monsters and ghosts and goblins and ghouls and all kinds of good, wonderful characters and creatures, and basically entertain the audience live right there on the stage. Sort of what we're doing. Now, when I was a small inkling of a little monster, my type of horror host was also the television, but when it wasn't on, of course they only came on like once a week, and in between times, I found that there was a horror host right in a comic book, or a graphic illustrated novel they call them nowadays, such as, let's see. Here we have some in the museum. We start out with Eerie. His name is Cousin Eerie. Hopefully, yes, you can see that. And that's one of the magazines that came out back in the 60s, 70s. Forrest J. Ackerman and James Warren. They were the geniuses behind these magazines, as well as Uncle Creepy. Hope you remember them. At least if you're not, you should be able to go to some of your father's or grandfather's collection and see them. And if not, you can come up to my house, Gargoyle Manor, the Monster Museum, and see them on the walls here. Anyway, this is Uncle Creepy and Cousin Eerie, and they basically hosted stories throughout the comic books. And each time they would be there and tell you the things in front of it about the movie, about the story that you're getting ready to read. And of course, they'd come in at the end. And they were their type of horror host in their own way. And of course, the magazine that started me, and a lot of people out there I'm sure, was Famous Monsters of Filmland. Edited by Forrest J. Ackerman, published by James Warren. And let me put this up just a little bit. Okay, hopefully you can see that. And that's what got me started, basically, collecting monsters, those and models and books and magazines and movies. Now, in the olden days, we didn't have video or DVD or this type of thing. We had 8mm projection reels. That basically they would chop down into a 12-minute movie from the big movie like Dracula, Frankenstein, etc. A lot of them didn't have sound, and a lot of them weren't in color. They had subtitles, but I loved them just the same. And it took longer to thread them up than it did to watch them, but I enjoyed it. Today we're very lucky to be able to just turn on an instant switch, and there's the old movies that we used to love and still do, to watch anytime that we want. And getting back to horror hosting, there's been a lot of major influences of horror hosting people that was in my life, such as Zachary and Vampira and Dr. Paul Bearer, Sammy Terry, oh, of course now we Count Gordeval and Elvira. It's so many more. And in fact, the horror hosting business is business. I guess you could call it business. We don't really make a lot of money, but there's some I'm sure that does if they know what they're doing and have really good agents, and etc., etc. But anyway, aside from that, they're marketing many wonderful things, like Elvira here. Of course, you know, you can buy her costume and earrings and all the accessories, comic books, and they even have a nice model kit. Elvira's model kit is her sitting on with her sitting on her macabre coffin couch and getting ready to do her movie macabre. And I've enjoyed those for years now. And of course I'll enjoy putting this together later down the road. Maybe I'll show it to you once I do finally get it together on these cold winter nights. But yes, horror hosting has always been a favorite of mine and a dream since I was just a small child, I guess. Seeing my first horror hosts on the television screen and hoping and wishing I could be one. Now, here I am, brought to you through the internet in living color and sometimes black and white. Now, a lot of you may say, well, Bobby, how did you become a horror host? Well, I just decided, well, it was time. And of course, with the new technology that we have, the video cameras and the editing on the computers and everything, and of course YouTube and Facebook and MySpace and all these other places on the internet, your very own space actually can be a movie screen. So I decided, okay, my name is Bobby Gammonster, so it's a natural. I've been collecting since I was 6 years old, and that's over a long time, 40-some years now. I'm 50. We'll be 51 this coming year, 2012. Add a couple hundred to that, but we won't get into all that. And so I threw, as they say, my top hat into the ring, and I decided I live in a monster museum. I've collected all these years. I've hosted my museum for many people to come through into our home and look at our items and our exhibits and everything. And so it was a natural thing to develop into. So all I can say to you who want to be horror hosts, what's stopping you? Get you a camera and start taking film. Taking film of yourself doing what you love to do. Put on your clothes, your makeup, and find a great movie that you love to talk about and put it in there. So that's how you want. If you wanted to be a horror host, that's how you start out. Of course, now if you want to be a horror host on the television or cable vision, then that's a different story. Get you a good agent. Take a lot of classes at the local colleges in drama, cosmetology, makeup, special effects, and become a great actor. But if you just want to be a horror host like me, then just get your camera.
The program director, you know, Jeff, where are we going to put these? Where will we use these? And I overheard that, and I said, well, I've heard of these late-night horror hosts in other parts of the country. So I said, if I could do that, perhaps we could host those. I could host them late at night and do funny little skits in the breaks between and during the movies. And he went, yeah, that might work. Let's give it a try.
Well, we've been talking about being a horror host, and tonight's movie is called American Scary, and it's a documentary about horror hosting. It has a lot of the people I've mentioned in it, and a lot of new people. It's great, instructive, and if you want to learn how to be a horror host, I advise watching this movie tonight, because it has a lot of fun, facts, and a lot of old footage that you probably won't get to see anywhere else. There's the horror hosts. My favorites are all of them, but of course there's Gordeval, there's Halloween Jack, there's A Ghastly Ghoul, there's Vampira, Zachary, Paul Bearer, Sammy Terry, and I could go on and on and on all night, but I won't. So, get ready for American Scary. And before we go, I want to do a scream out to our good friend Halloween Jack and his new co-hostess Halloween Jacqueline, for they're coming over to the internet. That's right, they're coming to the internet zone with the rest of us, and they're going to feature their show called Halloween Jack's Haunted Theater. I can't wait to watch it myself, so I advise everyone to keep an eye out, as they say, or an ear, or whatever part that you can spare, and we'll all welcome them to the internet with the rest of us ghouls and zombies and ghosties and creatures of whatever names you wish to do. Good luck, and we can't wait to see you. Now, get ready for American Scary. And until next time, as always, keep screaming.